Hi, everyone. So,
Hello.
welcome to Monday Mindset Mastery. Have you ever wanted to change the world? Have you ever wanted to make a difference, a bigger impact? Well, I am so excited today because my guest today, Mackenzie Stanton, is someone who didn't just want to change the world. She actually decided she was going to do it. And she is the CEO and founder of Worldchangers. And I'm part of her. I'm involved with her and I love it. I'm a world changer too now. And we just wanted to share a little bit about what McKinsey does and how you too can change the world because we can all change the world. It doesn't take a lot. It starts with you. And if we all change the world, just think how amazing it'll be. So,
Mm.
hi, Mackenzie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Lori. You are the best. I adore you. Thank you for having me. And when you asked, I was like, "Ah, I am honored. What a gal. Let's go. Let's do this." So thank you. And I so appreciate what you said, your words. And I will just say, I have this foundational, fundamental belief that everyone has a world changer within them. And I remember growing up, just having that desire, right? This young girls like, I want to travel the world and hold babies in forests and spread my spirit fingers and make a change, right? Like I want to help people. And don't worry, she's still in there. I still have that. But over time, I realized that takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of strategy, right? It takes a lot of resources. And I started to realize that, wow, other people have this same desire. Like this is pretty intrinsic. And then over time, more time, I started to realize whether that changes of the world or even just in our own household. Like I think that everyone wants change. Everyone wants a better life for themselves and their family. So I'm just excited to, be alongside you and other world changers that are actively stepping forward in that identity and that calling. So anyways, thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
Well, I'm so glad you're here, and I love what you said. And it's interesting because, you know, I think we do all want to change the world for the better. At least most people do, I would say. But it's funny because I was like you when I was younger. I thought I'm going to change the world. I have this purpose. I'm going to do something amazing. And then life kind of gets in the way sometimes. You realize you have responsibilities and jobs. Yeah, it's funny because I've talked to a lot of people, and some people do like they come out of the womb ready to change the world, and other people don't necessarily feel that way right at the start, but with a little pushing or a little edging, they get there.
Mhm.
So you tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are today, because I know you're about to like embark on this world travel excursion, but I'm sure you were, maybe you were born that way, but how did, it took a little getting there before you could get there. So tell us a little bit about what got you to where you are today.
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you, Lori. And I know I do think that we all have a different deep desire of how we want to change the world. That change isn't always a good thing, and we can go down a rabbit trail on that one. But yeah, I think so much of how we grow up really does um, prepare us for life, one way or another, of
Mhm.
how we want to live or how we don't want to live. And for whatever reason, my brother and I, he's 5.5 years older. He's been to over 100 countries. I'm not there
Oh,
yet.
wow.
So catching up, bro. Watch out. But for whatever reason, we're like the travelers of the family and my uncle. So in all of our family, like we're really the ones that go. And so I don't know where that came from. I think that was just there. But I'm so grateful for my mom and my dad. My mom specifically, I remember when I was 14, I got this letter from my seventh grade English teacher, and it was inviting me to go to Australia. And I remember being on my mom's big bed. I grew up on a farm, so she had this big, I think of like Princess and the Pea kind of bed, where it's just like
Oh,
really high to like climb up on it, right? And I'm opening up my mail as a 14-year-old. I have mail, and we have a pasture, a couple acres, some a couple horses, a donkey, chickens, a pig, right? A bull at one point. So that was just like the setting, right? As a 14-year-old, grew up on a mini farm and want to be cowgirl. And I'm opening this letter and talking to my mom, like, oh my gosh, like this is cool. I just got invited
yeah.
to go around the world by myself or with my classmates and my teacher. And it's a program called People to People Student Ambassadors. So I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but really amazing program in my opinion. And I remember like reading this and just like this, my heart pitter pattering, right? Like, oh my gosh, what a insane, amazing opportunity. But being 14, not providing for myself, right? Knowing it's going to cost a lot of money. Like, how do you make that work? And so I remember reading it to her and she's like, well, do you want to go? And I was like, well, yeah, but really do. But can I? Like, that's a big ask, right? Single mom, raising my brother and I. Yeah, my dad's amazing in my life, just in how that setting. Um, and and she's like, well, if you want to, then we will find a way to make it happen. And that was such a pivotal part of my journey of like, wow, this big, like, as a 14-year-old, I'm going to leave. I'm not even going to go with my family. Like, this is a year from now. It was like 5-6 grand, which was, it's not an insignificant amount of money even today, but like at the time, especially for 3 full weeks, like it just felt like such a big thing. And then to see my mom follow through on that, and literally like we bought those candy bars that you can sell, and you
Ooh,
get 50
the
cents.
world's best chocolates.
The world's best chocolate is pretty dang good.
I can't resist those. Anytime I see somebody, I'm handing them my money. So.
Yeah, yeah, I'd recommend. So for the audience, if you see it, do it. No, but I kind of, it's funny because I'm like, we probably ate as much as we sold. But 50 cents, like at a time we would sell, like we get 50 cents for, yeah, $5,000-$6,000. And, but that was a big amount of what was able to allow me to go. And I'll wrap this up here. Just one last part of that story is, I remember being in Australia, and this was around the Olympics, like at that time frame. So we're outside the Olympic Training Center, and I was on this bus, and there's all these other students from different parts of the country. We had our teacher, leaders, and I remember looking out, being like, I am on the other side of the world. My family's not here. Like, I'm 14. This is so, like, how liberating, that I feel like it was the first time I started to feel like an adult a little bit, even though I was around, I wasn't alone, but, so anyways, I say all that because that moment really shifted, one of the big moments that shifted things for me. And I have many more stories, but I'll just keep it at that for now.
Oh, I love that story. Well, first I have to, are you familiar with John Denver's song, Grandma's Featherbed?
I can't say that I
Oh,
am.
when you were talking about the bed, that's all I could think of. You have to listen to the song. It's
Oh,
like
I
he talks
will.
about grandma's feathers bed, and it was 6 feet high and 9 feet wide and soft as a downy chick. It's a really funny song. I remember hearing it when I was a kid. It was one of my favorites. So
Oh my gosh.
you
Yeah.
have to check that out, even though it's your mother's, but it's just a song about, grandma's feather bed on this farm.
Oh,
um,
I love that.
so that's just an aside. But I love that story about, you could make it happen. And I think that's for someone who wants to change the world, the fact that, and your mom clearly was a world changer because she was willing to let you change the world and make that happen. But the fact that I don't know how we're going to do it, but if you want it, we're going to make it happen. That's what people who want to change the world, that's the mindset that they have to have. I know. And for me, I don't travel. I've only been to about 30 countries, so not quite the 100 or that many. But for me, travel is something that I will make happen. I'll figure it out. A vacation, a trip, you know, I won't spend money on other stuff and I'll scrimp and save. But if for an experience, for something that lets you experience a culture, lets you create experiences that are going to impact your life, I find that they're worth it. And somehow
Yeah.
you'll make it happen. I know my son is a senior in college, plays college baseball,
Mm.
and he was, and I'm always telling him like, oh, stop going out to eat, cook, or don't spend money on food, save your money, don't spend some. And he was telling me that the baseball team's doing this trip to the Dominican Republic, and he's like, I'd like to go, but it's expensive. I'm like, well, no, see, that's the kind of money we'll find. If you want to go play baseball in the Dominican Republic, that's an experience that you can't replace. That, we may not want to spend it on Chick-fil-A, but you do want to spend it on something like that. And I think that mindset for people, whether it's travel or doing something, that's going to make an impact, is where you fit, you will find a way.
Mm. That's
So
so.
I know you've got a World Changers challenge going on right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So much fun with that. Well, I'll give a little backstory to that as well of how that came to be. And thank you so much for sharing, Lori. You are incredible. And first off, 30 countries, like that is way more than most people in the
A
world.
lot of them are in the Caribbean, so they're little countries.
Oh,
As a scuba instructor, we did a lot of local, little trips in the Caribbean, but
yeah. Well, and I think too, like you've been back to, I know we talked about Honduras and how we're both going to be there later this year, and you've been there a couple
yeah.
times. So sometimes when you double, triple dip or more, like, it's the same country again and again, which is just as
Yeah,
fun.
that's always a challenge. Like, do I go somewhere new or do I go back to the places I loved? And I fight with, oh, I love this place. Yet I want to try something new.
Literally. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. 100% get that. Yeah. So really how this all came to be, kind of a tagline of World Changers of what we're doing is it's where aspirational dreams of changing the world of whatever we may want to do meets practical execution. It's like, okay, this is why, this is what I see, but then how do I do it? And I'm of the belief, and a lot of this has just been in my own journey of, yeah, I can say I want to change the world all day long out there. And I can even talk about or dwell on the change that other people need to make, that I've never even met, that are beyond my control, immediate control in this moment. And I can dwell on that and I can talk about that. Or I can have that in my awareness and also say, I can't control anyone else. Truly, at the end of the day, no matter how bad I may want sometimes, I can only control me. And I'm exerting so much energy, and I've been so guilty of this, especially in really close relationships in my life. And I'm the first to admit and I'm like, I've been humbled to be like, Mackenzie, start with yourself. Like, look in the mirror. It's relationships. I read this book, one of Dr. Henry Cloud's books on boundaries, and I'm getting back to your question. But he talks about how in certain relationships, like it's never 100%, someone's problem and 0% yours. There's
Yeah.
always a percentage, whether it's 1 and 99% or 50-50 or whatever. And I was like, wow, that's for me, it was a big mental shift of like, even if I might not be to blame in this situation from the outside or in this scenario, I still have at least 1%. 1%. So if that's the minimum, then I better get busy and focus on what I can change, because then I take my power back. And so the challenge is really to embrace that, and to embrace that with structure, and to embrace that, like, I got to own the mirror, baby. Like, I got to own who I see and realize that I am where I am because of how I'm thinking and the decisions that I've made. So the challenge it's that like dynamic, right? Two sides of the same coin of changing the world. Well, first I got to change myself. And I can do that really well in community and with accountability and with clarity. And so in this challenge, this one particularly, we're really focusing on mindset. As you know, that great book, love Dr. Caroline Leaf, the book we're reading, Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess, really, really powerful on the neuroscience of rewiring our brains and taking something that might feel overwhelming or hopeless and making it very practical and realistic, and having those small, quick wins and truly like scientifically change our thoughts. And then our body. And it's so interesting. This is kind of a lot of parallels to answer. I went onto Instagram and looked up the reel, like, hey, if you want to change the world, change yourself, that like background that you can add to your reel. And most of the reels that I saw that other people posted using that were them working out.
Mm.
And I think that's so, like, it's symbolic, right? Of like, this is me physically making change, but it's also so true. Like, our physical health is our wealth. So that's a big focus, mind, body. And then the leadership is, okay, now how do I make a change in the world? And so that's what our challenge is. Hopefully that makes some sense in my AQRT 1574 answer, not ABC 123.
Right. No, that was what was clear to me, although I have a little backstory. I'm part of it, so I understand. But I love a couple things you said that I really love. The fact that you're responsible. I love Viktor Frankl, and to paraphrase him, he said, the only thing you can't, I mean, his quote is much more eloquent, but really you have no control over what happens to you. Can't control the situation. The only thing you can control is how you react to it. So that change has to start with you, and you have to be the catalyst for it before you can change anyone else. And I think I love that so much it has to do with fitness, because part of it is, if you don't care enough about your own health and fitness, how are you going to change the world? First, you're not going to have the energy, you're not going to have the strength, and you're not going to have no one is inspired to get fit by someone who is 300 pounds and can't get up off the couch. That just doesn't inspire people. So you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be, amazing, but you have to be working on it. If you're not working on improving yourself, why should anyone else,
Mhm.
be inspired by you to improve themselves or to make that change? So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And I love the mind. I mean, yeah, everything starts with the mind, but the body and leadership definitely follows. So I love how you put that all together. And the accountability part is really important because yeah, so many people have these great plans. And I was introduced to McKinsey by a friend of ours, mutual friend Jay Souter, and Jay said, "I want you to meet McKinsey because you talk about stuff and she does it."
Oh, that's what he said. Oh, well, you do it too, Lori. I don't know.
I
Love you
guess I
too.
don't do it
I'm
as
your
quick
boss.
or as big. So, but yeah, he's like, "You're talking about these retreats, and she's like doing one across the world." So,
Oh gosh. Well, I will say, fortunately, like part of why that happened, and I appreciate Jay saying that, but truly, like, and you're a kick butt because, like, you're seriously, you blow my mind. You get things done. And you're helping us with our retreat, so look at that, full circle. But I was in an accountability at that time. So I was in a cohort with Jace and some other amazing people, and I had accountability calls every week. And I was like, hot diggity dog, this is probably only happening right now. It was going to happen, but in the timeline that it happened in, because I had set the goals, I had rewards and consequences, I had weekly check-ins, I had other people that knew if I wasn't going to follow through. And so to that credit, I'm not that good. I'm really not. I know I'm
well,
not.
you're amazing. But
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
good. I'm not that good. Yeah.
the accountability is amazing, and a lot of people do accountability where they, maybe they have an accountability partner or something. But I love the idea of the rewards and the consequences because, well, I think there are people who positive, positive rewards are going to do everything, and then there are people who will do it for consequences. And
Mhm.
when you have both, it really is. It's empowering because it's my choice. Do I want to do my earn my reward and once I earn it, claim it. Because I
Mhm.
think a lot of times people too, they give themselves reward and they're not really serious and they make their goal and then they forget it to even give themselves the reward. And it's like, no,
Right.
if you earn that reward, take it. Tell us a little bit about the accountability that we're using in your World Changers Challenge right now.
Yeah, great question. And shout out to Daniel Wilgenbush for coming in because my big disclaimer is that I'm a leader. I know that I am. I know I'm good. I know I have value to add. I love myself. You know, I'm always working on my self-image, but I know I'm not, I know I'm good. And at the same time, I'm not the guru. Like I've said to other people, I'm like, I'm the facilitator of this. I'm not the guru of it. Like I'm just one is too small of a number to achieve greatness, in the words of John Maxwell. And so anyways, we've had 10 different experts come in and speak, and Daniel being the first one, really kicking off to say, we set our 10-year vision of where we want to be in our health and our marriage, our close relationships, our businesses or leadership of some capacity. And then, that alone is a mental exercise to do that.
Mhm.
And to scale it back to, 3 to 5 years and a year and the quarter, and then down to 6 weeks to the week, like that really, a lot of people don't do that. Or if they do that, then they don't have that built-in accountability. I know I haven't always each week to say, did you show up and do it? And it's one thing because, I love the accountability buddy, that saying, and I say it and it's, it rolls off the tongue. I think of it more though, like an accountability ally, because an ally goes to war with you against something. And to
Mm.
me, it's like we're arm in arm every week saying, hey, I'm not going to judge you or ridicule you or criticize you if you didn't follow through. It's like, hey, I know you can be better. And how can I support you along the way? Because I believe in you. And I'm shoulder to shoulder with you looking at this problem, this challenge, this hill to climb. How can we go link arms and go up it together? And the reward is, like you said, is to say, man, I'm either fighting for something, this thing, or I'm running away from this consequence. And we keep each other accountable to that. So, my last time I did this, before we did it in our challenge specifically, my reward was $1,000 shopping spree. And I was like, I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. This is going to be great. And I have, and I did, just FYI. It was great. But my consequence was no international travel for a year.
Wow.
See my eye twitching? Yeah. No way. No way that is not like that is happening. Like there's just no way. So to that point is when someone sets really good accountability, rewards, and consequences, it has to be something that you're either fired up to do. You're like, oh, I just want to do that. And or something that you're like, oh, no way. Never is this going to happen, because that's what makes us move. That's what makes us get up earlier or stay up late. We'll still ideally getting enough sleep and resting. I'm, for that. But just doing, like, saying no to things, because what we say no to creates space for our best yes. And having that like pressure cooker a little bit is good for us. It's good for our brain. It's good for our body to be challenged. We're in a comfort crisis, and it's so easy to fall into that. So that forces us to grow. So anyways, so many thoughts. I don't know if I answered the question fully, but
Yes, yeah. The challenge is really, the challenge, having that award and the consequence. Yeah, I love having, if you've never done a 10-year vision, do that exercise, because I had never done that before. And going out there and thinking 10 years ahead, and I'm 62, so in 10 years, I'm going to be 72, and it's like, who knows what but just putting together, like, this is where I'm going to be, and this is what I want, and this is what I want my life and my business and my relationships, was so powerful. But then taking it back, 3 year, I can kind of envision 1, and then 6 weeks. And that's where, 6 weeks, I know we have these goals and these consequences and this reward, and we're 5 weeks into it. So we've got about a week left.
yeah.
And I'm actually like, well, I'm planning my next, because I'm not going to do this. I'm going to make myself another maybe 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 6 weeks. I have goals, I want to keep this going, because it definitely pushes you. And my consequence is I'm going to get a crew cut, and I am not going to. My husband keeps asking me, "You didn't cut your hair, did you?" So he's like, no. So I hopefully, and it's funny, because making your goals too, you talked about stretching, and I want to talk a little bit, you need to make those goals difficult, because we have, in this challenge that we have, I love the way Daniel showed us too, because there are things you can control, which are what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are things you don't have 100% control over, which is your results.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make your goals, you need to make goals on both of them. So the actions, which is something you can control, like I will exercise 5 times a week. You
Mm-hmm.
have complete control over that. But then if you want to say, well, I will burn 6% body fat, no matter what you do, you might burn 5.5, you might burn 8. You never know. That's something you don't have complete control. So I love the idea of the results and the consequence. So I am making, or my actions, I'm going to meet my goals for my actions. I've already hit some of them, and I definitely am going to hit the other. I'm a little worried about my consequence, or my results, because one of them was a mile time. And it's funny, because I had set my mile time at a number. And I went and timed myself on the first mile to get done. And I was only about 30 seconds off that time. And I'm like, well, that's not good enough. So then I made it a minute faster. And now that we're close, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't gotten that yet. So I'm a little worried about that one. But I know I easily hit, I hit the one I said initially. I'm below that one. I've gotten faster. And I think even if I miss it, I think I've done well enough on everything else that I'll get to keep my hair. But I still want to make it. So.
You will. You will. And that, oh my gosh, I feel that. And I know my challenge is running as well. So I feel you. We're the only two running, by the way, Lori. Like,
Really? Yeah, you're running a little further than me, but
nonetheless, we're both running. So here we go. But the fact that you follow through on those activities, and yeah, I love the setup of how the accountability is, because you can't always control that. Like, the thing is, I ran yesterday with a new friend of mine. Well, I tried to run. It was like 5.5 miles total, and I don't know how much of it we ran, but it wasn't the whole time. And I just did that the weekend before. But some days you just wake up and you're just not optimal. Like, I was not like, women, there's times that you're not optimal, and that was my time. So you just have to have that grace. But you have followed through for 6 weeks on your workouts. You've done that. So you've done what you needed to do to make that possible. It's just like, okay, like game day, I'm going to show up with the best that I got. But it's not all hanging on that too, which is nice. It has some space for grace. But Yeah, I'm excited I'm excited for us. It'll be great. It'll be
Yes,
awesome.
it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm definitely. And I'm thinking I may use the treadmill just because at least I have more feedback
Mhm.
for, because if I speed up that treadmill, I either have to keep up or fall off. So
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, I'm a what I think of Will Smith's quote, right? When he's like, if I'm running it against you, like I'm gonna beat you or die trying. Like I kind of,
right, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I ran next to a woman on a treadmill one time, and it was fun. She had a T-shirt on, and her T-shirt said, "If you're on the treadmill next to me, we're racing." And I loved that.
Like, all right, buckle up.
Okay, let's go.
That's so funny.
So you're in the middle of this World Changers Challenge, and we're going to Fiji in about a week. So
Mhm.
how did you pick Fiji? And then tell us a little bit about your world travel plans after that, because most of us are coming home and you're not.
Yeah, yeah, kind of crazy. Yeah. So Fiji, it's so funny. And hopefully this helps someone to just maybe make it a little more like feel a little more practical, even though it's also something that you may not be able to measure. Um, and that is really trusting your intuition. And I have a faith, so for me it stems from that. But anyone that whatever they believe, like that still small voice that you hear, your intuition, your gut, the universe, whatever someone believes, like it's speaking to us when we quiet our lives enough and eliminate distractions and the noise to really listen. And the more I think of it like a muscle, the more we hear it and then good things happen and you're like, wait, okay, that was a divine intervention of whatever means. Um, then sweet. Like that's a rep in the right direction, me building that muscle. And so with Fiji, it was like, I just felt a pull. And I love Tony Robbins. He was like my gateway drug to personal development. What a guy, and I know people have different, but I'm like, homeboy has done a lot, like major kudos, made a lot of change, love his books. Um, and he has events, and I've been wanting to go to his events in person for years. And there's one in Fiji that I know he's not at, but I was like, if I get the package, I can see him and go to Fiji. But I literally I had a connection. I was talking to the gal to get this package beginning of this year, and it just was not working out time wise. It was like
Mhm.
one thing or another. I, had an amazing opportunity to stay in the States longer, an apprenticeship I was a part of. That was a no brainer. I was like, yeah, I'm going to stay here for that. But then just the dates weren't working out. I'm like, man, I just feel like I need to go to Fiji. And then Penelope, amazing travel consultant, she's like, well, let's look at like Central America, similar time zone, not that far for people. So we looked at some properties, and then I was like, yeah, these are good. Like I'm not super high maintenance, but I have an idea of what I want it to be. And then I was like, can we just check Fiji out, like just for fun, just for, just a little laugh to say we did it. Right. Um, and lo and behold, she finds this property that I was like, girl, we both were like, this is it. This is it. This is the vision. This is what we talked about. This is what we want to do for people. This is the vibe we want to have. And so as soon as we found that, I was like, okay, the prompting was correct. So it's beyond me. I think my belief is that there's people there that we need to meet, that we need to serve, whether it's at the orphanage that we'll be at or the property that we'll stay at, and vice versa for them and for us. That there's just some story that's already set that we're just going to basically walk into and look back on and say, we needed to be there for XYZ reason. And we don't know that yet. And that's part of the adventure. So that's Fiji. Hopefully that makes sense. And then I'll try and condense this last part because I do have a couple more thoughts, if I may. So I traveled abroad for 8 months after college. Europe and Africa, time of my life, went to like 16 countries, 5 months, 12 countries, or no, sorry, not 12, however many countries are on my own. And it was amazing. And then I came home, had a quarter life crisis, and long story short, started building a business and, working and all that. Well, I had a big life transition last year, and it was unexpected and, lost a lot and, grieved a lot. But I remember this moment, and this is hopefully what someone can like take. Part of what I was saying earlier about the 1%, 99%, and what you said about Viktor Frankl is like, okay, if something unfortunate happens, it's like, okay, this isn't just happening to me, it's happening for me. And that really helps frame shift. And I remember this moment sitting in July of last year on the gym floor, on the turf, emotional, hat on, no makeup. And I remember just this moment of like, this isn't just happening for me. This has also happened because of me. And it was a reframe that allowed me to take my power back and say, I've been talking for years about how much I want to travel, about and all these reasons why I shouldn't go now. I'm building a business. I need to stay focused. And you know what? No, I'm done. I'm done with that. Like, my life is because of me, the good and the bad. What I say, how I think, how I look, how I live, it is all because of me. And so that was really the moment that I was like, I need to follow what's on my heart and go see the world. And now developing Worldchangers and what it is, it was like, internet's great. I'm already connecting with people on social media. It's phenomenal. I was off social media for a long time, so it's kind of wild I'm doing that. But I'm like, I believe in this message so much. Like, my life is devoted to it. It's always really truly been devoted to this message, to this mission. It just has had a different vehicle for a long time. And I'm going to boots to the pavement, go spread it. Like, I'm going to go to all these countries and spread the message of Worldchangers. Like, that's just what I'm called to do. And I'm having a lot of fun while doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, hopefully that helps. And I know we're getting close and I'm rambling on a lot. I'm so passionate.
Oh, that's okay. I know I could talk to you about this for hours, but I don't,
Yeah.
no, I love that yeah, I mean, this Fiji trip, like I said, I feel like not only have you been called to it, but the people going are,
Well said.
I mean, I haven't met any of them in person besides you, but I can't wait to meet them in person. I'm so excited to do that. And when you come back, I have to introduce you to my friend who lives in Boise, where you're from, who runs she's actually done a run streak where she runs at least 2 miles every day. She's about a year and a half into it. So you would love her. You could
Oh,
run together. She's amazing. So,
go girl.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
so
you go girl.
yeah, I know. I did a run streak twice for a mile a day for a year. And the first time it was great. The second time I thought I was going to die, but I couldn't wait till day 365.
Yeah.
But I love what you talked about, how there are world changers everywhere, and there are people that we're meant to meet, that we need to meet, and can make a difference. And it does, changing the world does have to start with you. And because if you're not willing, if you can't change yourself, you can't change the world. And I think that's just so important, that you can change the world just by changing yourself, just by accepting responsibility, by realizing things happen to you, but they happen for you, and they happen for a reason. And nothing bad, if something bad happens, it's not bad. It's an uncomfortable experience, but there's a purpose for it. And if you find that purpose, it makes a difference. So I know we're doing this trip to Fiji, and there's going to be more coming, a documentary. If people want to follow and want to learn about what's next and how to do a World Changers Challenge, how can they follow you?
Yeah, great question. So, really, worldchangers.me, mainly on Instagram right now. That's the one that we're getting the wheels turning. Disclaimer, we've just come online this year. So, a little late to the party, long story short. But that's really where like they can go to. And then our website, just worldchangers.me. That's where we'll have updates, the countdown of when the next location will be released, because we'll do another challenge, another retreat. The plan is beginning of 2026. So keep your eyes out. I have some countries in mind. Might do a poll though to get a vibe of the tribe. And yeah, I would say LinkedIn, Mackenzie Stanton, Facebook, Mackenzie Stanton. We have groups that we're building right now on those platforms as well, worldchangers.me. So yeah, any of that works, send me a slide into the DMs, man, and let's have a chat. That's what I would say.
Yes, yeah, and definitely follow us on Instagram, because part of our challenge is social media and videos and sharing our stories. So these are going to be, like I said, there'll be a documentary coming. I don't know when or what it's called, but I'm excited about that. But there's also reels of all the people who are going to Fiji, and how this has changed their life, and how we're going to change the lives of others. So follow us on Instagram.
Yay.
Okay. One last question before we head off. If you were to leave the audience with just one tip, one piece of advice, one nugget of knowledge, what would that be?
Yeah, such a great question. Um, so I do my best because I can be really like philosophical and head in the clouds, visionary kind of gal. But I'm also like, how do we get it done? Like, how do we achieve? What does this look like? So hopefully this will help someone with that of like, okay, making change in the world, changing myself. Like, where do I start? I really like the stages of change model. that if someone just goes to Google and types that in and then they find an image, it'll show you. But basically, when it comes to changing, we have this pre-contemplation stage where we're not really thinking about change. We don't have intention to, right? Then it's contemplating. I'm starting to think about it. I'm not ready, but I'm like, what would it look like if I did? And then contemplation is really, where that starts. But then preparation is like, okay, like kind of like, okay, change. Woman's pregnant. We're going to start preparing the house because we know the baby's coming, right? That's when you're starting like, I'm really getting ready to change. And then you start to take action on that change. And typically a new change will take like 6 or so months, give or take. There's a lot of avenues we can go down on that. But then we maintain that change where it just becomes who we are. It's a new lifestyle. It's our identity. There can be relapse at any point in that as well. But I think looking at that model can help make it more practical and asking, where am I on this thing that I want to change, whether it's in the world or in myself? And if I'm not at the, at least the preparation or even the action stage, what would get me there? What's the reward or consequence that would drive me to move now? And sometimes leveraging our imagination of like taking ourselves to rock bottom of like, if I don't change, then XYZ will happen, right? And it could be 30 years from now. But how is that going to feel if I don't? And like really taking ourselves there can help be a catalyst on that stages of change model. So that's what I would say. I hope that helps as an exercise for people to do.
I love that. Yeah, I was not familiar with that model, but it makes sense, and I love that. And yeah, so many people say I want to change, and yet they've been saying it for years. And then there are people that fear change. And I'm going to tell you that change is exciting, that there's no reason to fear change. And it's going to happen whether you want it or not. So you might as well control it and change in the way you want to go, as opposed to just let somebody else's changes be put upon you, because there is no staying safe. So thank you so much for being here, Mackenzie. This has been great. And I can't wait to see you in 8 days? We're starting early too. We're going to start in Los Angeles, and we're going to change the world there, see what we can do right from the start. So this is so exciting. I just ordered some gifts on Amazon that are these little change the world keychains. They're with the little thing. They're so cool. Yeah, I can't wait to get them. They should be coming today. I'll post them when they do. So
thank you.
Yeah, this is thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for listening. This is one I'm going to be sharing this again, because I think everyone in the world should hear this, and at least anyone who wants to have an impact, make a difference, be a world changer, because it doesn't take a lot, but it does start with you, and you have to take action. You can't just say I want to be a world changer. Just like manifestation, you can't say I want to manifest a successful business and change the world, and then just sit there and let it happen. You do have to do some action. And I love that Mackenzie helps us take these big ideas and make them actionable and practical, and get going. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
Next week, my guest will be Elisa Bogarts, and we're going to be talking about launching. She's a launch planner. She helps you make a launch be easy and effortless. And if you want to make a change, that might require some kind of a launch in there. So she can, whether it's a business launch or even just launching an event, you can launch your life. But having someone who deals with all the details is really helpful. So join us next Monday. And between now and then, go change the world and have an extraordinary day and an extraordinary week. Thank you.
You're the best. Appreciate you. Much love.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.